A lot of things were brought up by all of the discussants so far. I will try to address a few of them. Tanveer Shakil Joy, Honorable MP, brought up multiple points that seemed more like a brief lesson in the last 30 years of Bangladesh political history from one biased side. What he said, most of those things were absolutely true. He was not wrong in the things he said, but that was one side of the story. There are other sides of the story. Having said that, don't be under any false belief or opinion or idea that I belong to the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. I have nothing to do with the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. We're in a movement together right now for a free and fair election. Other than that, I agree with many of the statements that Mir Hasan Kabir has made and Tanveer Shakil Joy have made about their failures of government. Problem with the Awami League today is, I was hurt last year, hence I will hurt you today. That's not how politics is meant to work. Magura by-election was a very bad by-election, but that was a very long time ago. 2014 election, 2018 election were not a very long time ago. And for the Honorable MP Tanveer Shakil Joy and for everybody else here, Ashraful Islam Shaib from France, Munir Hussain Shaib from Canberra, a bit of an understanding of the 2018 election. So the difference between 1991 and 1996 election, and I'll tell you, these are numbers. The difference in those elections was 2.5% of BNP vote swung to Awami League in 1996, 2.5%. There might have been rigging in 96, there might have been rigging in 91, whatever the case may be. 1991 to 1996, there was a 2.5% swing of the BNP vote to the Awami League. Okay, what happened in 2001? There was exactly 2.5% swing of Awami League vote to the BNP in 2001. Again, you might argue there was rigging. I wasn't there. I wasn't even in the country in 2001. Okay, but having said that, 1991, 1996, anti-incumbency effect, 2.5% swing. 1996, 2001, anti-incumbency effect, 2.5% swing. So you might argue that those were all fair elections. Again, the Awami League takes a stand that 2001 wasn't a fair election. Fair enough. I'm not going to go into that argument. It might not have been. Okay, but by pure statistical numbers, it seems like the same was carrying on for some time. What happened in 2018 was about 30% of PNP vote swung to the Awami League. 30% in very strong BNP constituencies. And again, I don't speak for the BNP. I don't care much for the BNP, even though we are in the movement together right now. Okay. Having said that, facts cannot be changed by just speaking loudly or spewing narratives. So the strong BNP seats, 50, 60, 70% swing from BNP to the Awami League. Those, my friends, are impossible numbers. Those sorts of numbers happen in Putin's Russia. Those are not democratic numbers. So anybody who says 2018 elections, who sees these numbers, understands the content, is aware of what happened in Bangladesh in 2018, and still says it was a fair election or a close to fair election, I'm sorry, my friends, but you are highly partisan, and having a general discussion with you makes not much sense at all. I am not with the BNP. I am not with the Awami League. I believe the Awami League is a very important party for Bangladesh's democratic process. I believe because Awami League is a very popular party. Up to 2008, when we could do numbers for elections, because 2014 we couldn't, 2018 we couldn't. And again, about 2014, the points that were brought up, not being part of the BNP. And in 2014, I was part of the Mohajot. I was part of the Awami League alliance with the Jatiyo Party in 2014. And I was Jatiyo Party's election coordinator. So I know what happened in 2014. Who went, who didn't go in 2014 to what election? What were the promises? What was done? So let's not have those discussions. And obviously it was BNP's fault for 2008. It was BNP's fault. Because the last straw that created 111 was BNP trying to ban Irshad from elections. That was the last straw. So, BNP Awami League both are at fault. What I'm saying now is we need some sort of compromise for the future. Now, why do we need compromise? First and foremost, because in democracy, if we want to have a democracy, we need compromise. But much more importantly, the point that Dr. Sinha brought up, the state of the economy. If you did not see this, we are in a very bad state right now. If it were George Bush speaking, he would have said, we are screwed. Our foreign reserves have come down to under $18 billion. Most of our trade has been hampered. We do not do value-added economy. We do business process outsourcing, manufacturing. If that stops, if we don't have the dollars to buy the raw materials to create the stuff and then ship it out, and also don't sort of come up with rhetoric like America does this, America does that. If the American Navy was not patrolling all the oceans of this world, we wouldn't have commerce. I wouldn't be in the air-conditioned room that I sit today. Now, am I thankful to America? No, America does it. Their foreign policy is for their own good. They don't do it with us in mind. But don't say America doesn't have power and they can't do stuff. More importantly for Bangladesh, because who's your biggest customer? You talk about Russia, you talk about China or whatever, or India. Russia's your customer of what? You just purchased a nuclear power plant for $12 billion, something that America, France, Germany would have sold to you for $3 billion. You bought it from Russia for $12 billion. You are Russia's customer, not the other way around. An economy doesn't run on buying. You have to be able to sell something. We sell to the European Union, to the US, to North America. Don't hurt your economy, an economy that is already hurt. So we need economic stability. To bring economic stability back, we need two things. One, we need political stability, of course. But second, we need the people's faith that there is a new system. The system is not going to be the old system. And anybody who has a bit of understanding of American history or American economics or politics, go back to Roosevelt's New Deal. Roosevelt's New Deal was an idea that we are going to give something new to the people. They didn't. Roosevelt's ideas, Roosevelt's policies were very much in the same line as Hoover's, that the president before him. But the point was, the people believed there was a New Deal. Perceptions matter in politics. Right now, the Awami League government is a very unpopular government. Now, again, I understand people who are with the Awami League sitting here will not agree to this. They're not meant to. So I'm not going to pressure you to agree with me. No. But you also, in your heart of hearts, know the truth, that you are a very unpopular government. And you have the government machinery, like, Mr. Mir Ahsan Kabir brought up this point, that the whole government machinery is the Awami League. So how do we change? We don't need to change the whole government machinery. The system is very simple. Yes, you are absolutely right. BNP has not told anyone what kind of neutral government, how to do the neutral government. But we have. We actually, did that multiple times before, and NDM also, gave it to the press yesterday. Okay, and we are going to hand over our suggestions to NDI, IRI, everybody else, day after tomorrow as well. Okay, those who are in Bangladesh. So we know, constitution. We can, if the Awami League wants to compromise, they can bring room in the constitution for a neutral government. But what the Awami League probably understands, but doesn't want to tell everybody, there is still room in the current constitution for a neutral government for election, and we have pointed that out as well. The BNP doesn't anyway. It does. Again, I don't work for the BNP. I don't work with the BNP. We are in one movement together. Okay. What we want to do is achieve success for this country. And any kind of success cannot come without economic success. That comes first. I understand. But democracy brings economic success. Right now, we are hitting a recession. Our buying power is going. Dollar's going to hit 130 plus to the taka very soon. People who have been with the Army League government over the last 10, 15 years, who have multi-million dollars stashed away in Singapore, not in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Bangkok, in Dubai, in Bahrain, these people are going to be fine. But the rest of the population isn't going to be fine. And we are political activists working for the people of this country. And everybody who's a political activist should be working for the people in this country. And so for the people, what we should have is a compromise. America, you don't know what they want. India, you don't know what they want. You can have discussions like America wants this, America wants that. America is not one single body. Anybody who understands American policy already understands American foreign policy has many different tugs and pulls on it. Okay, and right now maybe Bangladesh is important because obviously of its sort of Cold War with China right now. And so the South China Sea, the Indian Ocean, Myanmar, all of these things become important. Economics becomes important for America. But what their exact policy is, they haven't told anybody. And I would be shocked if the Honorable MP Tanvi Shakil Joy told me that the Army League has any clue as to what the US wants. Because if they did, they would have given it to them already. They would have. No matter what anybody here says, they would have. It would have already been given. So they don't know what the US wants. Maybe what the US does want is a fair election. I don't know. Okay? But it is within our power. It is within our power to come to a compromise and have a relatively fair election. And the compromise doesn't have to be at every level. The compromise has just to be at the supreme governing, the cabinet, the executive level. Okay? You don't need to change the whole government. I know I make this argument that every presiding officer is politicized and whatnot. And, Mir Hasan Kabir made this argument that everybody's politicized. But then if you look at it that way, everybody everywhere is politicized. Everybody everywhere has opinions. That doesn't mean they can't act on their fiduciary responsibilities. People can, people do. That's why democracies work. That's why courts work. That's why police forces work. And it's not going to be any different in this country. What you need to do is have a change in the executive and some modifications in election monitoring and so on and so forth, and we can get to election that everybody can agree to. The BNP, I'm not with the BNP, but the BNP, what do they have to gain? They have nothing. They have nothing. They have less than nothing right now. The Awami League is in government. So give all the other parties something. Step down. Step down from the executive. You must be confident. Every presiding officer, every DC, every SP, every election commissioner was put in place by you. Every DC, SP, election commissioner, returning officer, police, presiding officer, EC officer, everybody is there because they had a Awami League background. No matter what anybody says, everybody in this panel knows this very well. There is not an OC and in anywhere, in any thana, in any police station in the country who doesn't have an Awami League background. There is no SP, DC, anybody who is in power in that position without an Awami League background. You all know this. So if you have all of that and just letting go of the executive so that we can all come to a compromise, then why not do that? Why, for the sake of your own arrogance, risk a giant recession in the country? Because if a recession happens, violence is going to happen. That's what happens when people go hungry. Violence happens. And if you don't do anything different, the way money has been pilfered from all of our banks, that's not going to stop. Actually, I believe it's going to quicken. Because the people who have pilfered all of this money, they also know that a recession is coming. They also know that their chance to loot these banks further is further reduced. So whatever they want to steal, whatever they want to loot, they have to do it quickly. So if there is no compromise, and suppose Awami League forces an election just like they did 2018, in 6 months, we might all have to go hungry, people who are living in this country. The Honorable MP Tanveer Shakil Joy, his grandfather was a patriot. His father was a patriot. From that descendancy, from that line, from that family, I automatically believe he is a patriot. A patriot's true responsibility is to the people and the country, not to the political party. So I will leave all of you. I'll finish my discussion here, and I'll leave all of you with this one thing. There is not one person here who's not quite well aware of the truth, no matter what you state in this talk show or any other talk show. You are quite well aware of the truth. All I ask of you is a bit of patriotism where you uphold that truth and try to convince your own party to come to a compromise that will help foster the Bangladesh that your fathers, our fathers worked for and dreamed of. Thank you very much.